My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Well, good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Season 4, Race 4 at Watkins Glen, the Champions Grand Prix. This is Ian Wisbin with the VRG Virtual Racing League. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday evening. We're going to do an hour of practice here at Watkins Glen. We'll have a 20-minute qualifying session followed by a 40-minute race. We'll get caught up with our competitors here as they scrub in their tires here in this practice session. I'm looking forward to an exciting evening of racing here. And while we're at it, let's pull up the points and take a look, see what our standings are at. Currently, Stefan Vapp out on top, 124 points here. 3 races in so far into Season 4. Followed close behind by Bob Lang with 123 points. Dave Curtis, 120. Carlos Bonds, 113. And John Wood rounding out the top 5, 110 points. But Dave Fitzgerald back there knocking on the door, trying to crack that top 5. And Mac McCormick not too far behind. So everybody's pretty tight here in this Season 4 Skippy season with the VRG Virtual Racer League. So we'll jump down to the track side. We'll see how our competitors are doing this evening as everybody loads in. You've got a minute. Stop, get yourself a beverage, maybe make some popcorn, sit back and enjoy some racing this evening. We'll do an hour here. Jump around a little bit. I'll touch base with you, see how everybody's doing this evening. And then we'll catch back up here with qualifying and race. I may be on my own up here in the broadcast booth this evening. Mr. Karamanis, Chairman Karamanis, may be joining me later. And I do believe that Steve Ficacci, who usually rides shotgun up here in the broadcast booth, is going to be competing this evening, perhaps giving Stefan Vapp a run for that P1 finish this evening. As we take a look again at our race info for the evening, looks like a beautiful day in virtual Watkins Glen. Pick it up here with competitors. Christian Bergen out there. Beautiful evening. 78 degrees Fahrenheit. 5% humidity. Looks like a fun evening. So thanks for joining us out there on YouTube and Facebook land. Share with your friends. Subscribe. Hit that like button. We do this every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. This is Ian Wisman with the VRG Virtual Racer League. Be back with you in just a little bit. Enjoy. I'd like to welcome Toby Yurko to the VRG VRL this evening. His first race joining us. Just picked up his rig very recently, and he's out joining us this evening. Apologies here for just a moment. Cameras seem to be tucked behind the trees. We got to talk to the camera crew and get those pointed out so we can actually see where our competitors are at. Now let me get that squared away up here in the broadcast booth. We'll go to the chopper view. That way we can watch everybody driving around. But anyways, a warm welcome to Toby Yurko. See how he's doing out there this evening. Thanks for joining us, Toby. Good luck out there. Another new driver joining this evening, Scott Kruger. He was going to join us last week. Bit of confusion on getting the invite into the league. But Scott, we're happy to have you here joining us at Watkins Glen for the Champions Grand Prix. Wishing you the best of luck this evening. Thanks for jumping in the car and filling the field up. Very much appreciate that. Touch base here with Stefan Vapp to see how he's doing currently at the top of the timing sheets. Fastest lap at 2:13.772. Takes 2 seconds off that at 2:11.944. Bob Lang next closest behind in second place in the points currently. Just 1 point behind Stefan. Comes up on Kobe here. Matthew Barber joining us after a bit of an absence here with the VRL. I understand he's got a new rig he's fabricating himself out of some 80/20. Looks to be a pretty fancy setup there, and I think it's modeled after the, I believe it's a Merlin Formula Ford he races in the real world. Similar dimensions to that, so bringing a bit more reality to the rig he's driving in. Number of our drivers, of course, headed up to the real Watkins Glen track this coming weekend for the VRG Boggett Glen. So getting some real-world vintage racing action in at Watkins Glen. So certainly some of our drivers taking advantage of racing here in the Skippy, in the sim. Maybe take a couple of seconds off their real-world lap times. So we'll take a lap around the track with Stefan Vapp here. He can show you how it's done. Currently cracking off at 2:11.847. Of course, the cameraman's curse kicks in just as I cut to him. as he gets a bit of oppo there going into the hard right-hander there at turn 1. Lots of runoff as he runs up the hill here. Through the S's up onto the back straight. Long back straight there into the bus stop. Bit of a downshift, maybe a touch. Then steady on the power. Through the loop. Down into the chute, or the laces of the boot. Downshifting through the toe of the boot. Hard back onto the gas, up the hill. Comes into the heel. This is a deceptively difficult turn here, and in the real world, you get very close to this Armco, or the blue hedges as we like to call them, on the outside there. Just a little hiss. Once your tires warm up, you can stand on it through this left-hander. And probably a slight lift, maybe a gentle touch if you need to set yourself a little bit. With the right-hander back onto the front straight, and then power on all the way down for a long run into turn 1. And that was a lap of Watkins Glen with Stefan Vappa. Currently fastest out in this practice session. We're about 24 minutes in. We got an hour in this practice session, followed by 20 minutes qualifying, and then a 40-minute race. Jump up to currently second quickest in the session, Bob Lang, who's also chasing Stefan in the points here, Season 4 with the VRG VRL. John Wood currently third fastest in the practice. Picking up now with Don LeBayer, who's been extremely quick since joining the VRL here. Giving the rest of the field a run for their money. Looking to see a strong drive this evening from Don. Scott Luttrell sporting a new livery this evening. We'll have to get up close later this evening and see exactly what he's got running on the car. Christian Bergen as he heads down into 1. Plenty of runoff there on the outside of 1. Just got to make sure you get it back onto the track before you hit that green patch, or you'll get a penalty for going off. Mac McCormick diving there into the toe of the boot. Pretty busy practice session so far. We got 18 competitors out there. I think we got a couple more that's sitting in the pits, pit and paddock. Probably putting the finishing touches on their car setups. Get out there, turn a few laps here in the last 30 minutes or so of practice before a 20-minute qualifying session. Jump on board here with Niall McCabe, just a little bit. He'll be running just a bit wide coming onto the front straight there. That may cause some trouble for him. He took some damage. Sounds like he might be having some engine issues. Sorry about that, Toby. Bit by the cameraman's curse. We'll see you out there once you get that car all fixed up. Ralph Solomon here, headed towards the bus stop. You can see his Elva Formula Junior down in the left-hand corner there. That's what Ralph races in the real world, at least when he's racing an open cockpit car. He also picked up a really nice-looking Datsun 510 recently, and I understand he's had some pretty decent success in that car. Ralph finding pace here as we've been racing the Skippy more and more and threatening to put that car much further up the grid, so best of luck this evening to Ralph. Picking up with Clark Orstrom here, the JPS liveried skipper. And we've got Eric Russell out there. VRG VRL zone corner worker / skip barber racer. Eric comes out and races when he's not lucky enough to be standing trackside wearing his whites, waving a flag at you. And of course, we always like to thank our workers for what they do, because without our workers, we can't go racing. So thanks to Eric and anybody else out there that wears the whites. Thanks for being a corner worker. Let's us go racing and have fun. Well, that was quite the dust up there. Coming through the chute and the laces there. I think that was John Wood, Toby Yurko, and I think Bob Lang just missed that one. We might have to go back and take a look at that because that was some acrobatics for sure. Let's jump back and see what John Wood was up to at that point in time. Like Toby lost it. John tried to recover. Toby picked him up, and then John did a couple of somersaults there. Nice thing about this iRacing is it's just a matter of dragging it back to the pits, and the crew doing their the needful to get you right back out there on track. And this is certainly exciting stuff. We have Jeff Tapleside joining us this evening. First time back with the VRG VRL in a little while. Good to see you out there, Jeff. Relearning this Watkins Glen course. I'm sure you're just going to need a couple of laps, get yourself situated once again, get a feel for the car. Jeff having to take a bit of an extended absence here, so I'm sure once everybody sees him out on the track, and we don't have the radio chatter on, but I'm sure a very warm welcome to Jeff once he announces presence here in the race this evening. So great to see Jeff out there racing with us, and looking forward to him sticking with us for the rest of the season. Best of luck to him this evening. We'll see if he can put that car up on the podium in his first race back. So welcome back, Jeff. Good to see you out there. So it looks like I'm going to be on my own up here in the broadcast booth. I'm going to take a minute here and see if I can change up my cameras just a little bit here in the broadcast. So we're going to switch back to the white screen for just a moment. We'll finish up watching. Let's see. This is Ralph, Eric Russell, and I believe Bob Lang running through here. Maybe that's Matthew Barber. Anyways, give me just a minute. As I come back, we'll change up our cameras here. Watch these guys run down through the boot. And we're back. Seems we have a number of cameras which are staged behind trees here. Unsure if that's a technical thing on our side or just what. But we'll stick with these and see how they go. Maybe change them back up at qualifying. Stefan Vapp is still out on top. Slowing down a little bit here. This is a pretty busy session. We got 16 cars out there this evening. It seems a number of people are looking to get a couple of laps in before they head up to Watkins Glen for the real thing. Nice thing about iRacing, it's pretty easy and cheap to jump in the seat and get some track time in. The Skippy, as we found, handles a whole lot closer to the real-world cars everybody's racing. The car rotates well, and in most cases, it's a momentum car. While we do have certain drivers with some pretty high horsepower cars, the Skippy kind of lends itself to the momentum type cars that we have in vintage racing. Small horsepower, got to keep it moving and collected. Watch from the tail of John Wood Skippy as he turns in here through the bus stop. Just behind him, Dave Curtis. Pull up our points here, we can see it's a very tight race here after 3 races here at Season 4, the Virtual Racer League. Currently riding along in 5th place, John Wood. That's Dave Curtis just tucking on the inside there at the toe of the boot here. You can see 1st through 10th place is pretty quick. So it's anybody's championship right now. Stefan Vapp, of course, winning the 4-race Season 3 in the Skippy. But lots of challengers thus far. And consistency here in our drivers. So Stefan's not really able to gap the field too well with the points. So it should be exciting here as we watch to see just what folks can bring this evening here at Watkins Glen for the Champions Grand Prix. About 45 minutes in, we'll have another 15 minutes of practice here. We'll follow it up with a 20-minute qualifying session. And then a 40-minute race at Watkins Glen. This is Ian Wisman with the VRG Virtual Racer League. We thank you for joining us out there in YouTube and Facebook land. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get notified when we go live Tuesday nights from 8 to 10 on YouTube. And if you're over on Facebook, I'm live streaming on my Facebook page. Feel free to share that with your friends. Make yourself some popcorn, get a cold beverage or a warm beverage, as it is cooling off a little bit here in these parts. The leaves are changing. I'll have to send a note to iRacing, make sure they put up some of that beautiful fall foliage that Watkins Glen and the Finger Lakes region is so well known for. And we thank you for joining us. So sit tight, we got another 15 minutes of practice, and qualifying's up next. And my usual co-broadcaster, Steve Ficacci, has entered the chat and immediately puts in a 212-273, so he's going to be giving Stefan a run this evening. Expect he'll quickly approach the times there of Stefan Pappas, so we're going to keep an eye on Steve here. Steve once again making another great educational video for the VRG VRL. One of the nice things about being part of the group, we help everybody out and help you get your legs here in this sim world. Steve has put together some instructional videos from the last couple of races telling you just how to take advantage of the particular handling characteristics of the various cars we've been racing and how to find the fast line around many of these tracks. Certainly, if you've driven it in the real world, it's very similar. You can see by the simulation here, the accuracy is very close to the real world. But it does take a little bit of practice to get used to just how the cars handle throttle, brake response, and how to really squeeze the most out of it. And Steve has done a great job helping the rest of the Virtual Racer League get up to speed and get quick with these cars, as indicated by the close times, as you can see here. Top 5 here within just a second or two of each other, out the top 10, not that much further back. Everybody's got a race here with somebody, whether you're at the front, the middle, or the back of the pack, so you're never bored. Certainly, we'd like to thank Steve Ficacci for showing up and teaching everybody how to drive these cars quick. Take a quick look at him, making him left-hander as he's approaching, turning back onto the front straight here. See what kind of time he's got. to 2:11.863, so he is quickly approaching Stefan's quick time of this session of a 2:11.279. Taking full advantage of that extra runoff there at the exit of turn 1. He's running up the S's. Bit of the cameraman's curse jumping on board there with Jeff. Sorry about that one. Catch up with you here in qualifying. Pick up here with Don LeBayer. Currently 5th quickest here in this practice session. Jumping up there to 3rd just as he crosses start finish with a 2:12.108. We will have some stiff competition here this evening. Should make for some very exciting racing. And we will have a standing start this evening. Should make it even more exciting. Bit of a long run down into 1, so it's almost like a rolling start probably by the time we hit turn 1. But we've generally found that it allows us to be just a bit cleaner there on the starts. Those rolling starts can really gum things up if things go south. Been talking to the race chairman about possibly considering running full course yellows when necessary to bunch the pack back up. Because the Skippies don't necessarily have the power to run down the field if you get left behind a little bit, unlike the GT3s, which we ran in previous series. But as we've raced the Skippies for longer and everybody's gotten more accustomed to them, much cleaner racing and much lower incident rate, and everybody's able to stay tight and have a race the entire session. Got about 5 minutes here remaining in this practice session, and we'll hold 20 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 40-minute race here at Watkins Glen International. It's off beautiful Seneca Lake. You can see off there in the distance, beautiful farm country. You could make your way up there if you have the opportunity. Beautiful racetrack, lovely wines, and certainly stop by the Seneca Lodge for a delicious prime rib dinner, followed by several pints in the Seneca Lodge bar. Appreciate the long storied history hanging on the walls there. And of course, get your change made in $2 bills and 50-cent pieces. Take the kids. It's a great family adventure. I'm sure the Griswolds would have had a great time there as well. Steve going purple there in Sector 1 and personal best in Sectors 2, 3, and 4. We'll see what he has when he comes around to start-finish here in the closing minutes of this hour-long practice session at Watkins Glen. A little bit of traffic there. Hard to anticipate where they're going, but it looks like Steve's able to get around nicely. Coming out of it just a bit as he's just crossing start-finish. And apparently headed back to the pits unless he's practicing a standing start here. And that he is. Just under a minute here in this practice session. We'll come back for our 20-minute qualifying session to set the grid for our 40-minute race, the Champions Grand Prix at Watkins Glen International with the VRG Virtual Racer League. I'm Ian Wisbin, your host this evening. My usual co-host Steve Ficacci is out there setting some very fast lap times, looking to take it to Stefan Vappa here this evening. So we're looking forward to an exciting race. Close times in the top 5 to 10 here. Should be great racing throughout the field. Very much looking forward to what we have this evening. Currently riding along with Toby. He's having a bit of an issue there coming through the heel of the boot. Don't worry, Toby. Happens to all of us. We all get caught out there. That'll just about do it for our practice session. The checkered flag is out. Everybody's going to head back to the pits, and we're going to reset for qualifying. Tap out here for just a moment, see if we can't get these cameras a little bit closer to these cars for our qualifying session. Christian Burge and Steve Ficacci, one of the first out here in this qualifying session. These Skippies draft really well, so sometimes it makes sense to get out there and find somebody to give you a tow, particularly at a track like the Glen where you've got a couple of pretty long straights, and it really helps to have somebody make up some time with you. We'll pull up our timing tower once everybody crosses start-finish for the first time and see just how quick everybody is out there. Looks like Scott Luttrell was first out of the pits. We'll watch him as he goes down into the heel of the boot here. John Wood. Sorry about that, folks. Still fighting with the camera crew. So we'll pick up Scott Luttrell as he comes to finish this warm-up, his first out lap here for qualifying the Champions Grand Prix at Watkins Glen International. Generally takes about a lap, maybe two. Well, at least 2 laps before your tires come up to temperature here. Otherwise, they're kind of like driving on ice. So you got to be extra ginger, particularly at a track like Watkins Glen where you've got all that beautiful blue Armco surrounding you. You take a bit of a shunt in these Skippies and maybe lose a wing, lose that straight line speed, and it really hampers your ability to put in a quick lap. Stepping out, having just finished his first out lap. Still a little cold on the tires, as you can see there. It's a bit opposite lock coming through there, but collects it nicely and up through the S's. So we'll do 20 minutes of qualifying here, and we'll have a 40-minute race session. Narrowly avoiding, I believe that was Niall McCabe there. Got a little loose there coming through the bus stop and slowly rejoining the track. Pick up with Jeff Tapleside. He's coming around, having just finished his first out lap. Jeff in the real world running an extremely quick Lotus 7. Probably handles a bit like the Skippy, though maybe only just a hint. I'm going to guess the Lotus feels like it's on rails, and it's also got all the get up and go that you'd need, whereas the Skippy can be Bit of a wind-up toy, and you got to get it going before it gets going quick. We'll pick up here with Stefan as he's coming across start-finish for the end of his first quick lap. John Wood, currently purple, top of the timing, 2:14. Stefan Vapp across the start-finish, immediately pips John Wood with a 2:13.758. So as these times start to come in, we'll see who's quick and who to watch in this evening's race here, the Champions Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. Bob Lang, who has been consistently quick and challenging Stefan here in the Skippy this series. .213. Matthew Barber with a 2:17. Dave Curtis just out now, setting his first fast lap. Steve Ficacci currently purple in all sectors thus far. Though I wasn't paying attention, so if this is his outlap, that might just be in comparison to his last outlap. Looks like he's not really pushing it, so he's probably still warming up the tires. I may be mistaken. Steve, if he hasn't mentioned it on prior broadcasts, races in VR, which is a huge help compared to running on the flat screen monitors or the triples even. It gives you that added depth of field, and there he goes. Steve Ficacci putting it on the top of the timing sheets with a 2:11.806, so I expect Vapp is going to respond here quickly. John Wood again quick with a 2:13. The benefit of the VR is you really get that depth of field that you don't get on the flat screen, so you can really anticipate the distance to turn in. You can see the rise of the curbing, even the cones that you're passing. Really makes it much more realistic. Kind of a night and day difference, particularly as in the real world you're looking for your braking points and your sight lines for turn in and turn out, and really helps you get in the zone as if you were in a real car. Which is to say, if you can do the same thing and be quick when you're just working on monitors is also very impressive. Of course, feedback here in the Sims is primarily through your steering wheel, providing force feedback, and iRacing does an excellent job of laser scanning all the tracks that we race at, so you feel the same bumps in your Sim steering wheel as you do when you're at the track in the real world. You can feel the ridges in the curbing, and you can directly kind of correlate that to where you should be and where you should be putting the car and how that feels. You can further augment that, like I have, by basically strapping subwoofers to the seat that you sit in, and that further adds some engine and tire slippage feedback into your seat, into your butt rumbler, and further helps with the immersion into the sim. Let's run down the timing sheets here. We'll let Steve finish this lap, and then we'll run down the field and see how everybody else is doing here in qualifying. Again, we have 20 minutes, and we're about 9 minutes in, so we're approaching the halfway mark. Steve again purple in a number of sectors and quicker than Stefan, given the splits down at the bottom there. And he improves upon his last lap, going purple again with a 2:11.213. Stefan should be coming around here shortly, so we should get an idea as to where Stefan's at in just a moment. Not quite able to catch Steve with a 2:11.495. He'll keep at it. Picking up with John Wood here. He's currently sitting in third place in qualifying. on the Byron. Currently qualified 4th place. Very close to John Wood, so expect these two to be going back and forth. Bob Lang jumping up the timing sheets there into 3rd place. Watch Dave Curtis here cross start finish, see how he's doing, see if he's able to improve. Slightly, but still qualifying P6. Got Kruger coming around onto the start finish straight. Got the hammer down. P7 currently with 2:15.124. Let's see if he can improve upon that. Got Luttrell there in P8. Mac McCormick hustling it down to the toe of the boot, missing a rear wing. That may eliminate some drag and give him a bit more speed in the straightaways. Uncertain how that feels in the turns, though. Jump on board real quick and see how it's going for Mac here as he goes through the heel of the boot. Doesn't seem to be drastically affecting his line, where the car's handling. Lucky there for Mac. Matthew Barber just rolling out of pit lane. On board now with Ralph Solomon as he comes out of the bus stop. Heads down the chute to the laces of the boot. Nicely done there by Ralph. That can be a little tricky. Get a little too bound up there as you're taking a touch of brake and lifting off the throttle there, and the car can get all kinds of squirrely. On board now with Jeff Tapleside, who's following just behind Ralph Solomon. Currently P12 with a 2:18.943. I expect Jeff's got a couple more seconds here he can take off. We'll see if he can find his sea legs. Knock a couple of seconds off there. These skippies do like to slide, and one thing you got to kind of get yourself comfortable with here is making that car slide and get it rotating around, maintaining your speed and not taking too much brake, because you lose too much momentum and it takes all kinds of time off. Bit of a lift, quick downshift here under the front straight. See if he can pick up a bit of a toe here from Ralph and improve upon his last lap. Jeff taking about a second there off of his quick lap time. Nice work there. Ralph taking the drift line through turn 1. We are 13 minutes into this 20-minute qualifying session here. Our current pole sitter, Steve Ficacci, currently in the pit lane, probably making a couple of last-minute adjustments. Expect he can probably come out here, put in one more quick qualifying lap after taking a lap, maybe 2 to get his tires up to temperature and really put it in a place that Stefan can't quite get to. We can see Stefan's last lap there coming up at 2:12. Stefan has been quick. We can see he's purple in 1, 3, and 5, but it looks like he's not quite as fast as Steve in 2 and 4. As we watch him come around on this lap, we'll track him as he's going through all the sectors and see if he can't string it together and pip Steve from the top there. Losing a bit of time in Sector 2 there. Still personal best, but not session best. Sector 2 is basically from just before the bus stop until just before the laces of the boot there. But purple once again here in Sector 3. Stefan very comfortable with sliding the Skippy around. Stefan answers Steve. And he does. The 2:11.095. We'll see if Steve comes out and tries to grab back those 2/10 that Stefan picked up on him. Currently see Steve sitting in the pit lane with about just under 4 minutes remaining here in this qualifying session. So Steve may be content with sitting outside pole position here to the start of this 40-minute race here, the Champions Grand Prix at Watkins Glen International. Certainly some gamesmanship that comes into this. Watkins Glen's a big track and the Skippies can get around it. But with two cars that closely matched, it kind of comes into question, do you want to be leading the race the entire time and fighting hard, or do you want to kind of sit back a little bit and take advantage of that, the tow down the long straights as we get a little bit later in the race here. Dave Curtis jumping up into P3 here, the 2:12.366. I think Don LeBayer currently in the pit lane. See if Don comes back out and answers. Pick up with Eric Russell as he comes around to complete his qualifying lap here. That's Eric, Toby, Ralph Solomon. And Stefan Vappa coming back around. Let's see if he's made this any faster. And he does once again with a 2:10.769. Given the time remaining in the session, I think Mr. Focacci's going to sit out the rest of this. Start outside the pole here. And then fill Stefan's mirrors for the rest of the session. Pick up Christian Bergen here as he comes around to complete his qualifying lap. Minute and a half to go here. Let's see if Christian can improve. Ever so slightly, but still P10. Not a bad place to be. Again, with the draft here, it's anybody's race. Mac McCormick still running without that rear wing, so he has not gone back to the pits to get this car repaired. Perhaps he finds the handles better, more suited to his style. We'll see as he comes down front straight. Improving ever so slightly on his time. Still P7. Just under a minute. 45 seconds or so remaining here in this qualifying session. Anybody that's out on a flying lap when the checkered flag flies, that counts. Scott Luttrell P8 currently with the 2:14.519. Personal best all the way through the track. Unfortunately, not able to improve upon his last lap. And we'll be wrapping up here shortly. We'll wait for timing and scoring. They'll bring up the official grid sheet, and we'll run through our grid and see what the grid looks like here this evening for the Champions Grand Prix with the VRG Virtual Racer League at Watkins Glen International. Thank you for joining us in YouTube and Facebook land. This is Ian Wisbin with the VRG. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share it with your friends. We got 40 minutes of excellent iRacing action in the Skippies coming up here very shortly. While Niall McCabe here in these closing seconds and laps of qualifying. Christian Berzen jumping up to P8 there. Dave Curtis currently P3. We'll see if he can improve on that and find he's going to have to pick up a second if he's going to get ahead of Steve Ficacci. He's legging it. Let's see if he's got it. .212.179, ever so slightly slower. So we'll wait for timing and scoring to bring up our official starting grid here, and then we'll run down through the grid. Standing start here at Watkins Glen International. Should be an exciting one. And every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook, the VRG Virtual Racer League. Next week, we're headed to Road Atlanta. Like, racing conditions are excellent this evening. It's a beautiful day in Watkins Glen. Track temperature 103 degrees. It's a bit cooler than it was in practice. It was about 112 degrees during practice. We're down to 103. We'll see how that affects, well, obviously improved qualifying times. We'll see what the race conditions are like, if they change at all. Everybody's back to the paddock, and we should have our starting grid here. Pull that up and run through it. Starting in P1, Stefan Vappa. Just outside him, Steve Ficacci. Joining us, jumping out of the broadcast booth and into the driver's seat this evening. We may be able to pull him during the race and ask him a couple of questions while he's driving. We'll see how that one works out. P3, Dave Curtis. P4, Don LeBayer. Starting in 5th, John Wood. 6th place is Bob Lang. 7th is Scott Luttrell. P8, Mac McCormick. P9, Christian Bergens. P10, Scott Kruger. New to the VRL this evening. Thanks for joining us, Scott. Great to see you out there. Having a good race so far. Ralph Solomon, P11. I think that's the furthest Ralph's qualified up the grid, so congratulations to Ralph for finding that pace. We got Matthew Barber rejoining us there in 12th place. P13, Jeff Taplesai. Welcome back to the VRL, Jeff. Great to see you out there. Hope you're having fun. Niall McCabe, P14. We've got Eric Russell in 15th. And it looks like Carlos, Toby, and Clark are in the session. We'll see if they actually set qualifying times. I don't see them, but they might have been late joining to give everybody a run for their money as the hard chargers up through the grid. So again, that's Stefan Vapp out there qualifying in pole position, and Steve Ficacci, second place qualifier there. This is going to be a fun one, folks. Stefan and Steve. And looks like we're getting ready to bring up the green lights here. Wait for those to go out.
Green, green, green.
Green flag, and they are off. Stefan quick with a good start, as well as Steve, Dave, and Don. We'll watch them into turn 1 and see how things go here. This should be an exciting one. Stefan moving to the outside there to block Steve and taking turn 1, leading into turn 1. We've got Dave Curtis. Don LeBuyre is in P3 currently. So we got Stefan, Steve Ficacci, Don LeBuyre, Dave Curtis, and Bob Lang making up your top 5. We got some tight racing back here further back. Everybody clean through 1, up through the S's, onto the back straight here. Steve Ficacci all over the back of Stefan Vappa, first time into the bus stop. Let's see who's got this one. Looks like Steve's on the inside is going to take it from Stefan here as he leads through the bus stop. The rest of the grid coming in. Don LeBuyre having to bail out there and take the cutoff. Steve getting loose there coming out of the bus stop. Stefan regains, but Steve maintains control and can resume behind. Dave Curtis, John Wood, Scott Luttrell, everybody through cleanly. Looks like Stefan's able to take advantage of Steve's off there through the bus stop as he works his way down to the toe of the boot. We'll jump a little bit further back through the grid and see how everybody's doing back here. Picking up with Christian Bergen. Currently running neck and neck with, looks like that's Clark Orstrom. So Clark was able to jump up the grid there from the start, starting from the back of the pack as he goes through the inside and the toe of the boot. Picking up with Dave Curtis here, who is all over Bob Lang's backside. Just behind them, we've got John Wood and Scott Luttrell. Clark Orstrom there, chasing Christian Bergens. Gently through here the first couple of times through while those tires are still cold. Let's jump in the cockpit with Clark and see how it looks from his point of view. All over Christian's rear end. And then we're going to jump up to Scott Luttrell, who's just behind John Wood. Tight race there for 4th and 5th. Steve Ficacci closing in and Stefan Vappa here as they come through 1. Stefan running real wide in 1. Steve following close behind as they run up the hill here through the S's. We'll keep an eye on this one. I expect this one to close up. Right now, actually, it looks like Steve's going to get a good run with Stefan here as they're headed towards the bus stop. We'll stick tight with this one. See what Steve's able to accomplish. Steve exercising a bit of discretion there as they go through the bus stop, get through cleanly, come back, attack it hard next time through. This is Bob Lang following closely behind Dave Curtis. Niall McCabe currently running in P10. Excellent to see Niall up this far. Let's see if he can stick this one together. Put in a perhaps his best finish thus far with the VRL. Back on board with Bob Lang, close behind Dave Curtis. Looking at that timing and scoring tower, looks like Steve Ficacci is just over a half second behind Stefan Vappa, so we'll catch up with them in a little bit. Lots of tight racing, 1st through 6th place. Nice 3-way fight here. Looks like the battle for 10th. Clark Orstrom has spun. Christian and Scott Kruger navigating here through this left-hand turn here. Let's pick up. See how these gentlemen make it through cleanly. So it looks like if that was Ralph Solomon just ahead, Ralph might have missed a shift and blown the motor in his Skippy. Unfortunate for Ralph. He was looking quick this evening. He'll take it back to the pits and see if he can't get that fixed up and back out there. Up front, back down to Bob Lang and Dave Curtis. Extremely tight. Let's check into the cockpit here. of Bob Lang as he makes his way around Dave Curtis. Side by side as they head into the bus stop, who's going to back out first? Looks like Bob Lang's going to take this one. Dave's going to back out just a little bit, and we'll pick it up here with our leaders of Steve Ficacci and Stefan Vappa neck and neck as they're entering the chute. Looking out the backside of Stefan Vappa back towards Steve Ficacci. Steve's quick. He went purple, so he's got the legs on Stefan. This should get interesting here very shortly. Jumping back to John Wood. So this is John Wood, Dave Curtis, and Bob Lang up there in P3. John may be able to capitalize here. If Bob's looking in his mirrors at Dave Curtis just behind, John might be able to jump up 2 places here and put this thing on the podium. He's within a second of Dave, and Dave's within a second of Bob, so everybody should be able to take advantage of the draft here down the front straight at Watkins Glen. That should be interesting once they get down into turn 1. If nothing else, it'll tighten them up a little bit for the run up the hill into the S's. Smooth through one there for John. Up now to Dave Curtis. Dave's mom, if you're watching, Dave says hi. Certainly appreciate all the family and friends sitting out there on YouTube and Facebook land watching us. Great way to keep in touch with the kids. You can't be near them. Plus, you can also give them a hard time about missing their braking or turn-ins after the race. A nice three-way battle for third place here. Dave and Bob having a real good time. Let's jump up to Steve Ficacci, who is closing in quickly with Stefan Vappa. This is getting exciting. Steve within 4/10 of Stefan. We got a little bit of lap traffic, or what will be lap traffic here coming up, so this should prove interesting. Steve may be able to take advantage of this unless he hits it in the wrong place on the track. That's Eric Russell just ahead. Stefan and Steve able to get around Eric nicely. Coming out of the heel of the boot and up the hill. A little bit more lap traffic here as they're going to be coming around onto the front straight. I believe that's Toby Yurko just ahead. Steve taking advantage of the draft there at the end of this start-finish straight. They'll be catching Toby as they run up the S's. It's going to be a kind of a difficult place to catch some traffic here. So we'll see if Stefan muscles on through here. Gingerly, Steve's able to close that gap up just a little bit as a result of the traffic. Get a nice run on Stefan coming up the hill here. This might give him an advantage as they head into the bus stop. Steve backs out of the bus stop. Sorry there, camera slip up. So Stefan maintains the lead here. We'll jump back to Dave Curtis, Bob Lang, John Wood. Eric Russell there getting loose in the bus stop, causing all kinds of havoc for those three guys come through, but everybody seems to get through cleanly. Whew, that was close. These three running neck and neck here in the battle for third. within a half second of each other. Dave trying to make his way to the inside of Bob Lang here. Let's see what he can make happen as they come out of the heel of the boot. Stefan and Steve just ahead. John Wood exercising patience here. We're about 11 minutes into a 40-minute race session, so there's a long way to go here. Pays to bide your time, and if you can stay close and stay within the draft, you can maintain a decent gap here and be a threat later in the race once everybody starts to get a little bit tired. We'll take the opportunity to run down the grid a little bit here as we watch these guys go through turn one. Bob Lang running wide here. Doesn't seem to have lost much, if any, time to Dave and John. But Dave does look like he's getting a nice run up the hill here. Dave all over Bob's back porch. And John Wood just sitting back observing, seeing how this is going to work going through the bus stop. It looks like Dave's got it for the bus stop. Bob's going to back out. John's going to move ahead. Discretion being the better part of valor here. Bob not too far behind. He's going to stay close with these guys. I would expect them to leapfrog each other. Let's jump back up to the front because Steve has reeled in Stefan Vapid just about 3/10 behind as they go down to the toe of the boot. Looks like Steve's losing a little bit of time there in the boot. Stefan's able to gap him just a little bit. And about a half second ahead as they come up out of the boot each lap thus far, but I'm sure Steve will look to correct that. John Wood now having caught up to Dave Curtis, closing the gap up a little bit. I believe that's Toby Urko ahead, not entirely sure. Yep. Dave's going to have to get around Toby. John just under half a second behind Dave. Expect him to pick up the draft here. Bob Lang behind John. Perhaps looking to pull off the same stunt as the lap prior. Watch these two guys head towards the bus stop unless Bob gets John before that. Bob able to execute a nice pass on John Wood just before heading up the hill here. John will tuck back in and sit and wait. Steve looking to go for Stefan on the outside of the bus stop. Let him know he's there, fill up his mirrors just a little bit. Steve, nice inside line there. Coming down the chute, places of the boot. Steve reeling Stefan in just a little bit this time up out of the boot. About 0.2 quicker. Hopefully Steve remembered to map the key for his tear off. A little foggy inside that helmet there. We talked about that last week. I'm sure he didn't forget, but he's probably got other things to concentrate on, like reeling in Stefan here. You can see there the timing. He picks up that draft and starts to make some real nice time there on Stefan. Steve's still going purple here, so he's quicker than Stefan. He's just got to catch him. Now it's a drag race down to the boot. We've seen this before. Stefan got that inside line, so he's got the advantage, but it looks like Steve may be able to get ahead of Stefan. Side by side, neck and neck as they head into the bus stop here. Steve able to keep that inside line. Now he's going to be on the outside. Let's see. Stefan takes it right back from him. Steve's going just a bit wide on the exit of the bus stop there and losing a bit of time there to Stefan, but I'm sure he'll catch him back up. We'll jump back to John Wood, Bob Lang, and Dave Curtis here. So they themselves also make their way through the boot. Bob getting a little loose coming through. He's pushing. Jumping down the timing tower a little bit. We got Scott Luttrell here coming through the bus stop. Don LeBire through the bus stop clean. Carlos Bonds did make it. He worked his way up. Well, no, he's still P16, so he's got a big fight ahead of him. Got Kruger working his way into and out of the bus stop, and then we've got Niall McCabe coming through, running P11. Excellent drive for Niall this evening in P11. Looks like he's being conservative about this one, probably saving it for the last few laps of this race. Clark Orstrom a bit on his own, had a spin a little earlier coming up out of the boot, so he's fighting his way back up the timing tower. Pick up Mac McCormick, he got his rear wing back. Currently running in P13. Jumping back up to our race leaders, Stefan has reeled in Steve going up the hill, though it looks like, looking back through my timing and scoring sheets, did they get around each other at some point? Woo. Gonna have to search for that later. Drag race down to the bus stop. Stefan tucking in first, Steve close behind. Close, clean racing between these two for 40 minutes. It's good stuff. Bob Lang managed to get back around Dave Curtis. John Wood following behind. Out of the toe of the boot. Dave Curtis got those mice running away in the wheel there in that Skippy. Doing everything he can to catch up to Bob. John Wood should be able to take advantage of the draft here and close up on Dave Curtis just a little bit, but I think he's happy to sit here and watch this take place, looking to capitalize probably later in the 40-minute race session. We're just crossed halfway here, 20 minutes in. Dave having to back out there just a little bit so we didn't drive up Bob Lang's rear. They head into the bus stop. Excellent racing here between Bob, Dave, and John Wood. Dave tries to go to the outside here as they come into the toe of the boot. Gets around Bob. Bob's still got the inside line though. He's got the advantage. Neck and neck as they go through this turn. John Wood may be able to take advantage here. Good to lap traffic just ahead, Toby Yurko. Stefan going purple with a 2:10.513. Nope, sorry, that was Steve. Neck and neck with those two. Let's jump back up to our race leaders and see how they're doing. Dave getting around Bob, John just behind. Bob all over Dave's rear. John Wood biding his time. Let's see if he peeks out and is able to squeak around these two. We might be 3 wide into the bus stop. I think Bob's giving Dave a push down into the bus stop. John Wood backing out there. Looks like both Bob and John backed out just a little bit. Dave might be able to gap them just a little bit and get away. And this may become a fight for 4th position between Bob and John. We can back up to our race leaders here. Steve losing just a little bit in that turn onto the front straight. Still keeping up with Stefan. Exciting stuff here in this battle for first place. Oh, so close as they come out of the S's there. Steve just ahead of Stefan as they head into the bus stop. Steve's able to take that line through the bus stop. It looks like he's got it from Stefan, so Steve Ficacci has moved into first place here. Let's see if he can distance himself from Stefan or if they're going to go back and forth. Stefan staying with, headed down into the chute. taking a defensive line here into the toe. Stefan tucks to the inside, backs out. Steve's going to take that a little bit close there. Stefan having to lock him up just a little bit, otherwise there would have been contact. Just enough running room here. Let's see if Stefan's going to stick his nose in. Nope, he's going to back out and probably get at it once they get back onto the front straight here. Currently working lap 12, 26 minutes into our 40-minute race here. The Champions Grand Prix, Watkins Glen International, the VRG Virtual Racer League. This is Ian Wisman with you this evening. Thank you for joining us out there on YouTube and Facebook land. We appreciate you watching. Hit the subscribe button. Get the notifications when we go live. Hit the like button. Share with your friends. Appreciate you being here. And once it gets to be wintertime and the snow flies, at least here in the Northeast, we're going to be doing this every Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. all around the world. Just set a reminder. Fix yourself a beverage. Make yourself some popcorn. Sit back and enjoy, because this is back and forth racing. Excellent action here between Steve and Stefan here. The battle for P1. Let's jump back to John Wood and see how he's doing. Currently drafting down Dave Curtis as they're coming down start finish here into turn one. John, I think, sounds like he's backing out a little bit. He's going to let that one hang out for just a little bit. Runs a bit wide, perhaps got a little bit out of his rhythm. Bob Lang sitting back here waiting for these two to see what happens. Bob right up on John Wood's rear end as they head into the bus stop here. We'll see if Bob tries to make a move. John maintains through the bus stop. And Stefan was able to take it back from Steve Ficacci. Go back to a replay, see how that changed hands. Running up out of the hill, back straight into the bus stop. Stefan had a good run, got the draft, and was able to take it into the bus stop. Bob Lang has fallen off from Dave Curtis and John Wood. Might have had a bit of a mix-up there just a little bit ago. We'll have to see if we can figure out what that was. Dave and John duking it out. Let's jump down the timing tower here and see how everybody else is doing this evening. Don LeBayer, clean race. Not a whole lot of action going on for him right now. Currently P6. See if he can catch up to Bob Lang. Give him a challenge to make it into that top 5. Bit spread out here through the middle of the pack. Now McCabe back into P10. Christian Bergen on the outside looking into the top 10 finish here. Just over 2 seconds behind Niall McCabe. We'll keep an eye on that one, see if Christian's able to reel in Niall. Carlos up to P14 after starting at the back of the pack. Jump back up to our leaders here, Steve Ficacci and Stefan Vappa, as they're coming into the toe of the boot. Ten minutes remaining in this 40-minute race session here. Like Christian was able to get around Niall McCabe. We'll jump back, take a look at that one here in just a little bit. Steve going purple. So he's got the pace on Stefan. Bit of traffic to manage there. Steve and Stefan come through here. This has been where all the action is, coming up the hill here through the S's. Steve getting, once again, a good run on Stefan. Stefan closing the door on Steve. A nice overhead here from the chopper. The Treacle Insurance sponsored chopper and blimp this evening. Darren Treacle not racing with us this evening on his way back from a 5th place finish in STL class at the SCCA runoffs that were just held at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Exciting racing out there. Also Rob Hines, who's not racing with us tonight. I understand Rob took 2, I believe it was 2 3rd place finishes in Spec Miata in a field of 85 Miatas. And I believe he had another one in T3. And we've got some runoffs bling bling to hang in the VRL virtual shop when those guys get back. Congratulations to them for what I'm sure were very hard fought seasons to make it to the runoffs and excellent results therein. Picking up with John Wood. So following Dave Curtis. Time's running short here, so if John's biding his time, he's going to have to make his move here soon if he wants to put that car on the podium. John Wood making a move to the inside here as they come into the bus stop. A little hot through there. Can he keep it together? Ooh, he's a little squirrely. But he's able to make that move and get the pass from Dave Curtis coming through the bus stop. Let's see if John can hold on to this. Dave Curtis close behind. I'm sure he's not going to let that get away from him. Gingerly down here through the laces. They head in towards the toe of the boot. John taking the middle of the road line here, trying to be a bit defensive with Dave behind. Dave getting a nice run up out of the boot on John. The drag race into the heel. Looks like Dave's going to take this back from John Wood. Close, clean racing. Steve Vicacci, purple at a 210.361. Just under 5 minutes remaining here. They're pretty close, so we'll jump back up here to our race leaders, Steve Ficacci and Stefan Vappa, coming up out of the S's in the run down to the bus stop. Looks like Steve did map a tear-off button because his visor is much cleaner. So he goes to the outside of Stefan here in the run down to the bus stop. Sticks his nose out in front of him. Stefan got that inside line. We'll stick with Steve through the bus stop and see how this works out for the two of them. Looks like he gave just enough room to Stefan to get through. Stefan backing out just a little bit. Going to try and take it back here on the inside and might make this one stick. On the inside, headed down to the chute, places of the boot, takes it back from Steve Ficacci, resumes the lead. Side by side. I hate to switch to a different camera angle because it's just going to get too far away, folks. I apologize. This is exciting stuff. Down into the toe of the boot. Just under 5 minutes remaining here in this race. Stefan Strong coming up out of the toe of the boot. Does he have enough to get around Steve as they come into the heel? It looks like they just may. It's a good line for Stefan there. He gets back in front of Steve Ficacci. Steve still on the outside, swapping this position back and forth, side by side, through the heel of the boot, up and out towards this nasty Armco. Let's see who's got the better line through here. Looks like Stefan's going to go through, pushing a little bit wide. Steve's able to take advantage. As long as he doesn't run out too far, he might have a better run. And the inside line on this turn here. Once again, side by side. Through 10. Through 11, onto the front straight, side by side, basically through the last four corners of the track. A drag race down, start, finish. Steve Ficacci currently in second place, according to timing and scoring, takes the lead from Stefan as they head down into one. Side by side once again. Let's zoom this one out and see what happens here. Stefan taking the inside in turn one, still side by side. Steve's going to tuck back in the run up the hill here. I expect next time by we'll be working last lap. Good stuff here. Great racing from Steve and Stefan. In the cockpit with Stefan, Steve Ficacci just to the inside. We're going to go back out to these really far out camera views. Apologize, everybody. Into the bus stop, side by side. Steve Ficacci takes it through the bus stop. Stefan extremely close behind. Let's jump into the cockpit with Stefan and watch this one. Steve's got the run down into the chute. Stefan's got a run on him though. Expect he's going to tighten this one back up. We'll see who holds this. You can see Steve's really hanging it out there. This is kind of a tough place to be too close together. Expect they'll revisit this one once they get back towards the toe of the boot. Looks like John Wood had to go into the pits, fell back to P6. We're currently running order. Steve Ficacci currently leading this race. Stefan Vappa very close behind. Dave Curtis in third place. Bob Lang about 4 seconds behind Dave Curtis there. John Wood a distant 30 seconds back from Bob Lang, so I think Dave Curtis may have this one wrapped up. Stefan's going to the inside of Steve as they head into the heel of the boot here. Again, we're going to go side by side. Let's hope for a decent camera here. Excellent. Side by side through the heel, up and out. The race up the hill. Steve's got the inside line. Stefan having to go the outside and fall back just a little bit. Sneaking back to the inside here is Steve. Steve's probably going to have to give this one up here as Stefan resumes the lead again through 10 into 11. Steve back in front, onto the front straight. Power down. 40-minute race here. This is going to be last lap as we come around here. The white flag should be out. Let's see what Barney's throwing when we come around here. Steve's going to lead this one. Should be working last lap. Excellent stuff here from Stefan and Steve. Steve leads this into one. Stefan very close behind. Bit late getting it back on track there, Steve, but you put a bit of time between Stefan. You may have just enough as you come up the hill here through the chute, through the S's. Picking up a draft here on Steve, and once again a drag race down to the bus stop and see who's got this one. Steve offered to jump into the booth while we were racing here. I don't think he's going to want to do that right now, folks, so we'll let him and Stefan concentrate on the racing as they head down the race into the bus stop. Stefan's going to take it into the bus stop. Steve tucks in behind Stefan, clean through the bus stop. Steve really hanging it out here to keep up with Stefan and take back this inside line. They head down towards the chute. Stefan as well, really hanging this one out all over. Stefan goes to the inside in the laces of the boot, side by side through here. This is a bit crazy, folks. Really exciting stuff. Steve takes back the lead. Stefan's probably to his inside. I can't see. The cameras aren't cooperating with me this evening. Stefan takes it into the toe of the boot. We've got Mac McCormick off there on the right. This is going to be a drag race with these last couple of turns here, folks. Let's jump into the cockpit with Steve Ficacci all over the back of Stefan's rear end. He's got the inside line and the heel here. Let's see if he can make this one stick and run him up out of the hill. If so, this might be a checker flag for Steve. We'll see. I'm sure Stefan's not going to give this up easily. Cuts right back around. A bit of a rope-a-dope there. Stefan on the outside. Steve's got the better line to the inside, but Stefan's pushing hard on the outside. Excellent stuff here. Stefan's got to run. Steve's going to have to take quite the line here to keep Stefan corralled on the outside there. Stefan turning in with Steve. Steve's got that line. If he makes this cleanly onto the turn into the front straight, but Stefan's got that. Let's see what happens here. This is going to be a race to the end. Checkered flag is out, folks. We're going to switch to a bigger camera view here. It looks like Steve Ficacci has got this one. Stefan Vappa just behind, and it's going to be a photo finish, folks, but Steve Ficacci, I think, got that one. Excellent racing from Steve Ficacci and Stefan Vappa. Great googly moogly. That was some great racing. Cheers to our race winner, Steve Ficacci. Second place, Stefan Vappa. Excellent stuff. Let's pick up Dave Curtis as he comes through to pick up that last podium position in P3. Excellent drive by Dave Curtis. We'll jump in the cockpit, say hi to his mom one more time. Hi, Dave's mom. Hope you're having fun watching out there. I'm going to need a drink after this one. Congratulations, Dave. Excellent drive. We'll pick up with Bob Lang as he crosses in fourth place. John Wood should be coming around here shortly to take that fifth place position here after a pretty tight race between Dave, Bob, and John Wood all race long. Unfortunately, it kind of fell apart there at the end. Matthew Barber been away from us for a little bit. He'll finish in sixth place. We'll pick him up as he comes around. Seeing that bar there on the timing and scoring tower, I think it's Rubens Barrichello. Matthew Barber would probably be happy to hear that. Nice drive here from John Wood, P5, though I'm sure he wished he'd have done a little bit better. Dub Yurko is going to be next across the start-finish line, his first race with us here at the VRG Virtual Racer League. Congratulations, Toby, first time out. Pleasure to have you here. Stick with it. We look forward to you coming back next race. One more time back to Rubens Barrichello, Matthew Barber. Sounds like the gearbox might be having issues, but he's limping it home, getting across start finish. Scott Luttrell with Scream painted on the car. Apologies, folks, I don't remember who painted that. My art teacher from high school would be very upset. Scott Kruger, first race with the VRG VRL. Thanks for joining us, Scott. Excellent drive here from you this evening, putting it on P8. I'm sure the team is going to be very happy with that once you get back to the paddock. Lots of celebration and champagne. Who else do we have out there following around? Looks like Steve and Stefan are finishing their victory laps, waving to all the corner workers. Once again, thanks to our corner workers. We can't do this without you, even in a virtual world. Excellent driving there from Stefan and Steve. Great stuff. We'll pull them into the broadcast booth once they get out of their driver's gear and spray some champagne. Ask them how that race went. Fantastic stuff here from our drivers this evening. The Champions Grand Prix at Watkins Glen International. Thanks everybody out there watching on YouTube and Facebook land. We appreciate you joining us. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends and family. We're here every Tuesday night. This is Ian Wisbin with the VRG. We're going to let the drivers collect themselves, and I'll jump out to the broadcast booth and bring those folks in for a bit of a post-race interview. Let's see if we can also pull up our race standings here. The official results are in from timing and scoring yet? And they are. And here's where we stand. This evening's race. Race winner Steve Ficacci, an excellent drive, neck and neck, back and forth with Stefan Vappa all race long, 40 minutes of swapping P1, P2. Super close. Super great racing. Dave Curtis, P3, Bob Lang, P4, John Wood, P5. Close racing between those three all race long until it kind of fell apart there at the end, but congrats to Dave Curtis on that P3 finish. Matthew Barber, P6, Scott Luttrell, P7, Scott Kruger, first race with the VRL in P8, Don LeByron, P9, and Christian Bergen picking up that top 10 finish. Niall McCabe just outside looking in P11, Carlos Bonds, P12, Toby Yurko, P13, Eric Russell, 14th, Mac McCormick, 15th, Clark Horstrom, 16th, Jeff Taplesai in 17th, Ralph Solomon in 18th. Let's find that next button. That's the rest of our grid. Jumping up to our championship points here. We've got Stefan Vapp out in the lead with 166 points, putting just a bit of space between him and Bob Lang in second place with 163. Dave Curtis just behind, 161 points. John Wood, 149, and Carlos Bonds, 145. Excellent drive there. The broadcast team down there, myself in P18. Let's take a look and see where Steve Ficacci is. Just behind me with 43 points. The broadcast team tied neck and neck with 43 points. Folks, I'll be back with you in just a moment. I'm going to grab our race winners, pull them into the broadcast booth. We'll have a few words with them. Sit tight. We'll be right back. Refresh your drink and make some more popcorn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ian Wisbin up in the VRG Virtual Racer League broadcast booth, and I have with us this evening our race winners. We have race winner Steve Ficacci stepping out of the broadcast booth and into the race car, taking P1 here. Let me bring up our race results so everybody can take a look here. Second place finisher, Stefan Vappa. That was some super close racing there, P1, P2. We're also joined by P10 finisher, Christian Bergens. I hear the team's real excited about that P10 finish, just outside the big points, but hey, at least you can take some photos and make the press. Dave Curtis also joining us as well here with a third place finish. Dave, I think, did you do third place last week as well? Or am I mistaken?
I think last week was second. We had, standalone run in second, I believe.
Well, let's start with our race winner this evening. Steve, I was lonely up here without you. Jim didn't make it either, so I had to do this one on my own. And I'll tell you, Steve, Stefan, those last couple of laps there side by side through damn near every turn on this track, I need a drink. I'll get one of those, though, once we're done here, but I was running out of breath. Excellent drive there, Steve. Why don't you tell us a bit about that one? That was some great stuff.
So I screwed up lap one, and I went off the grass in the butt stop. And I wanted to follow him, but I knew that on the first two laps that I overdrive a little bit, especially in the carousel there and the next corner, and I was worried I was going to lose time and lose the draft. So I said, you know what, if I get in front of him, he'll be behind me, and I won't lose any time. But I screwed up. I think I took a little damage because I noticed, like, going up the S's, the car was down about a mile an hour. So I was like, it wasn't a lot, but just enough where I was really struggling when I was out front. So I followed him a bit. Got in front of him once or twice, and I noticed that he could pass me back a lot easier than I could pass him. So when the laps are winding down, I said, if I could get side by side with him, I think the cars are close enough where we could just race it out. And I didn't think he'd have much of an advantage. So that was kind of my plan, was to just keep him side by side and not let him make any moves and use the whole track to get a run on me.
Well, it was great watching it. In those last few laps, the back and forth, Stefan, you can't really split P1, but that was a heck of a race to watch from up here. Why don't you tell us about it from your point of view? I don't know what the split was on laps led, but it certainly looked like a lot of fun from up here. How was it for you?
That was 40 minutes of qualifying laps. That was, a little damp, a little sweaty over here. But it was so much fun. The concentration for those 40 minutes, I don't think I've had to concentrate for any of the other races quite that much. That was really something else. And I made my own mistake in lap one. We had someone jump on the radio and ask a question, And as is my usual, I wanted to answer him, so I jumped back on the radio and answered the question, and then completely forgot what corner I was at, and forgot to hit the brakes for the last corner. So I went up and clobbered the wall, um, jumped up in the air, and came down with apparently all four wheels pointing in the same direction. So as near as I could tell, the car was okay. Uh, like Steve and I were talking about at the end of the race, if I can turn two tens, it can't be all bad. So I guess it was okay. Um, but yeah, I don't think I've ever gone side by side through the bus stop with anybody else. uh,
Wow.
so I through the bus stop, through coming out of the boot.
Sooner or later, all of them.
Yeah, I
At
think
one
we
point
did
or another,
all
I
of
think we got every single one.
Yeah, and
Yeah, you did. You were side by side through the shoot the laces. That was pretty, particularly because that was like the second to last lap. I think that was a little hairy from our point of view.
yeah, I don't think I've done half of those corners side by side before. So that was an adventure. But
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
really exciting stuff up here, and try to keep it a family friendly show. So I had to keep my thumb on the bleep button, but I was pretty good about that one. We'll throw it to Dave here real quick for a little bit. Dave, that was an excellent race there between you, Bob Lang, John Wood for the first half or so of the race. The three of you were front to back, nose to tail the entire race. So it was jumping between Steve and Stefan, and then you three. How was your race this evening, Dave? Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. They definitely kept pushing, and I think the three of us held on till about 3 or 4 laps to go. So, one person would lead, and then you start to get a run, mostly coming into the bus stop. And I was trying to learn from last week and kind of let people go by and try not to run side by side, so we're not losing as much time. And it seems to work out. Lifting, let them go by. If you're faster, you'll get by later on in the race and keep racing. It was pretty good, but yeah, like they were saying, it was a lot of concentration for a long time, and hats off to Bob and John. That was some great, close, clean racing.
That it was up and down the grid. We had some excellent racing, a lot of close drives throughout the rest of the pack. It was kind of hard to tear ourselves away because there was so much action in first through fifth place. Christian, you finished in P10, but it looked like you had some fun running back there. Why don't you give us a bit about your race and how you did this evening?
I did. Thanks, Ian. I've missed the last couple of weeks due to travel, and I knew I'd be rusty, so I decided since many of us are heading up to the Glen here in a couple days, I needed to get some laps in. So I had very low expectations. So I'll take, out of a field of 18, I'll take a 10th place finish. I got spun. I forget who spun me first turn one first lap. Or second lap, I guess, and then I struggled to recover, had to pit and damage and all. So I'll take 10th. Hey, I'll take it. Umbrella girls are heading my way.
Yeah, see, there you go. So we'll jump back up to our race winner, Steve. Obviously putting it on the podium. You and I are now tied for points in the championship. So I think that means that we're gonna have to make Jim do one of these races so that.
So I think we're tied for wins. Jim's got to get a win.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So this is going to get interesting here as the season winds down here. Looking at the point standing, Stefan, you're currently out on top, 166 points. Dave, you're not too far behind though at 161. So, we're halfway through season 4 here in the Skippies. So this is going to be, I think, another, last race, last turn, last lap kind of championship here. So we're certainly looking forward to it. But are you going to get back into the broadcast booth, Steve, or do I need to say goodbye and figure I'll talk to you after every race?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'm not going to miss Road Atlanta next week or in 2 weeks. So, yes, I'll be back in the booth.
Excellent. Well, I mean, excellent racing between you and Stefan. Very close stuff. I think it's probably one thing to sit and watch it, but to Stefan's point and Steve's and Dave's, concentrating for 40 minutes when you're running that close with somebody, particularly at a track like the Glen where you're staring down all that Armco. I'm sure towards the end there you're thinking, man, when's this going to be over with? So a lot of fun up here watching the race. So congrats to both of you and to Dave for an excellent race.
Yep. Congratulations. That was well
Cheers.
done. A lot of fun.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah,
Couldn't
and
believe it when
Good
crew
run.
chief told me it was halfway. Like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I bet you had some choice words for crew chief back after he told you that.
Yeah, he was calling Stefan really bad things.
yeah, he did that to you too.
Yeah, and Steve did offer to jump into the broadcast during the race, but I kept I was watching Steve, and I figured if I do that, this is just gonna ruin it. So I exercised a bit of discretion there and figured.
Well, I was willing to try.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time if there's some time and space between you two. But it was just such great stuff. I didn't want to disrupt that. So congratulations to you all there very much. Of course, Road Atlanta in 2 weeks. We're going to take a bit of a break while everybody goes up to the Glen in the real world and turn some real world race laps. So to any of you, is that Stefan? You're going. You're waving your arms there. Christian, you got your hands in the air. Dave, you headed up?
No, I'm not. I'm close enough to come watch, but
Well, certainly
no
envious.
race car yet. Yeah.
Yeah, envious Christian and Stefan there getting some real world race laps in. So you'll have to let us know if this white knuckle racing here this evening, Stefan, if you find a couple of seconds as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck, boys. Have fun.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
that.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for joining me up here in the booth. I'll let you get back to the pub so you can raise a glass and talk to the rest of the racers this evening. But excellent stuff there, Steve, Stefan. Steve, congratulations on your win. And Dave, congrats there on your P3. And Christian, of course, your P10. We'll look forward to you in the top 5 in the next one.
Thanks, Ian.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. I'm going to sign off.
Good night.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me in the broadcast booth. This is Ian Wisman with the VRG Virtual Racer League. Thanks for watching this evening. We'll do it every Tuesday night from 8 to 10. 2 weeks, we're headed to Road Atlanta. I may be up here in the booth. I may be out in the race car. Steve, obviously, not going to come back and challenge me for another broadcaster podium win, so we'll see how that works out for next week. Again, thanks for joining us. Swing by the VRG's website, vrgonline.org. If you'd like to come join us, hit the website, use the contact page, get in touch. Certainly love to have you come out and race with us. You can see all the various tracks we're going to run out this season. We got 4 more races here in the Skippy, and if the next 4 are as exciting as this evening's was, I think we're in for a real treat and a real close championship. So again, this is Ian Wisman for the VRG Virtual Racer League. We thank you for joining us here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share with your friends and family. We thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go catch my breath and have a cold beverage. Good night, everybody. Have a great week. And for those of you racing at Watkins Glen in the real world this weekend, enjoy it. Appreciate the views, the sights, the sounds, and certainly the smell of a race car running a motor at Watkins Glen International. Thanks, everybody, and good night.